Here I am again, and I don't know what's up with these earth tones. I think because it's really cold. The snow that the little bit of snow we had the other day still hasn't melted. In some places, it's crazy. It's supposed to be wet over the weekend. They didn't say if it was going to be rain or snow, but I'll find out later. I haven't been online today to check the weather. I'll go and check the weather, but it's been really sunny and really cold. So I don't know. I look pretty good in most colors. Summer before last and last summer I was really into red. For some reason I just wanted these tomato red and red outfits and all this really red stuff that I bought a lot. I think that was just like some of the energy I was feeling as I started to job search, seriously and those kind of things. I'm a winter. So I look good in just about anything, but I think maybe the next one that I make, I'm gonna get um out of these these earth tones for a minute. What I want to talk about was one of the scenes in Autumn. I know every scene's my favorite scene, but I'm really proud of this one. I really like it. um it is a, I guess, a jumping, not a jumping off point, a point where my female character matures a little, because she's rather immature. She's had her way. She's a little spoiled little, privileged slave. She's always had whatever she wanted, pretty much. It's sad because the one thing that she absolutely wants is to be her lover in Georgia. Like I said, the plantation owner's son. She wants to be his wife. She wants to be his woman. Like she wants to be an equal to him and marry him. And it's the one thing she wants. And the irony of it is when she moves to Missouri, she gets that. Exactly what she wanted. She wants to be the mistress of her own plantation. She wants to be, and as a matter of fact, she actually says that. She says that when it comes down to her and her lover in Georgia, that he loved her, but as a she felt as though as a prized possession, something else that he owned because he did own her. His father owned her. And when she gets to Missouri, that her Missouri husband, quote unquote husband, is they're a partnership. She's an equal to him. And the scene I'm going to talk about now, I would say my favorite, but the scene I'm going to talk about now is actually like a, I don't know, pivotal point in her life, and she really grows up after this scene. It starts with her. Well, and the timing of it is very good. It's right after they make love for the first time. It's right after, because they're around each other 3 or 4 weeks before she finally. And what I really like about it is, and I thought about changing it, but I'm gonna leave it like it is. She actually makes the first move because he actually promises her. He says, well, look, I'll give you all the time you need, and whenever you think it's right, or if you never think it's right, we can. They were in sleeping in separate rooms, actually on separate floors. The top floor of the house isn't even ready yet, and he's kind of sleeping up there in a on a bedroll, a sleeping bag we would call it, and she's down in the one bedroom on the first floor that's actually um, uh, done, and the part of the house that's finished. And as she cooks breakfast for him and takes care of him and notices what a good man he is, and how he takes care of the town, and how he takes care of the people on his farm, and all this stuff, she realizes that this is a really good man. Besides that, he's fine. And she's like, hey, what's up? And like I said, she's a sexual she's a very sexual being, so this scene happens right about right after they've gotten together, and she's moved her stuff upstairs. He's finished the upstairs, and their adopted daughter's room upstairs and that kind of thing. And she moves up there with him, and she comes down one morning, to she's doing her throwing the dishwater out the back door, and doing her little morning chores, and there's a knock on the door. And that was one of the vehicles we were taught. Phone rings, somebody knocks on the door. Whenever you get stuck, have the phone ring if it's a period where you have a phone, or have someone knock on the door, you know or have a messenger arrive, with a message. That's a vehicle to jumpstart you. And then one of the things that I did use was my character writing a journal. I was like plateauing. I like had like writer's block. I couldn't, you know, think of anything. And then one night I dreamed about, a girl sitting down writing in a journal. So, and like I said, that was also a way to get her inner feelings and the everyday life, the stuff that, was important to her. Well, I went to town today, and, that kind of thing. So, um, what's happened is a gang of outlaws has robbed a um, stagecoach, which they think is, has money, but it's really only like a mail run or something like that. And anyway, these outlaws murder and, kill the driver, shoot the man that's, riding shotgun, or, whatever, whatever. And there's no sheriff in the town yet. This is pre-sheriff. There's no sheriff. So one of the men from town knocks on the door and is looking for her husband, and says, well, where is he? Goes out back, and they talk, and they head off after these men because, they're the law. In the city, they find out, I can't remember, I think they kill the man riding shotgun, and they just wound the driver, the stage driver is what I'm thinking. And so this guy comes, and to the farm, and gets her gets the man of the house, basically, and drives off, and they ride off on their horses to go and find this finally track these outlaws down, which they do. They end up doing, and they end up they have no jail or nothing yet, but they end up having they chain them together in the blacksmith shop. I don't know, something like that. I don't remember, because this is in like I said, it's in the beginning of the book. She When he rides out, it's the first time that she realizes what life on the frontier really is. That it's a dangerous place. She could lose him at any time, and it's one of her growing up points. It's one of her maturing points, because it all of a sudden comes to her that, wow, and then he's gone overnight. He's gone overnight, and she's just petrified. She's just, she's terrified, because he doesn't come back all night. And I kind of go into how she kind of, she has the little girl to take care of, and this is the only thing like that just saves her sanity. Their little adopted daughter, not her and his child yet. Um, their little adopted daughter, and she and she can't she he locks all the doors and everything. And it's one scene where he's standing there, he takes the rifle down from over the mantelpiece, and he's breaking it open, and he's looking down in it, and he's putting shells in his pocket, that kind of thing, and leaves. It tells her, look, I have to ride out. I can't I have time to explain, but I have to ride out. And um it's she goes through the entire night. She can't, she's almost mad with like worry. And she goes, and but she has the child to take care of. And finally, the Indian man that lives on the farm, the one I told you, that him and his wife were the safekeepers of the hills of this holy place. They stay there. Their tribe is a nomadic tribe, but these two people are kind of like the caretakers of the temple, I guess. We would consider it, but it's these hills where this certain spirit lives. And, he knocks on the back door and says, "Hey, it's me. What do you want? Do you need anything?" And then she brings in more wood and, brings in water and, rinses out their slop jugs or whatever, and it just goes into detail with things she hurries up and does, and then locks herself back in the house. And this man is, patrolling the area. And actually, the arch villain by this time has arrived, but he's not living in town at this point. He's actually living um, um, in like a cave or something up in the hills, and he's watching all this going on. As a matter of fact, it's about the time he arrives. And what he was going to do was to come directly to the farmhouse and like get her right then. But with all this going on, um, this Indian guy patrolling the area. One of the foreman's older sons is patrolling with him. Two of them are patrolling the area with him. Their dogs running all around, and he can't get to her. That's one of the vehicles. He can't get to her because all this is going on. So she finally like falls asleep, gets a quilt, kind of, at the kitchen table, kind of falls asleep. And when the hero comes back, from all this, of course he's exhausted. He's been up all night hunting down these men, and he's exhausted. And of course what happened, what's going on, so he tells her that, some men, tried to rob a stagecoach, and they're locked. They had to go out, the men had to ride out and get them, and that kind of thing. So, and then he goes upstairs. Of course he collapses, and I think, and then the next morning, she's angry with him, kind of, more or less. Well, she's worried, and she's realizing that how much she cares about him, because she really could have lost him, and she just basically found him. And what I had thought for a minute was to change that to the moment they first have sex, when he rides out and comes back. But I thought, that's a little corny. So I made them, already be in an intimate relationship before he rides out there. In that way, she can realize, she can see that, wow, I could have really lost this man. And I think this when she realizes the danger that she's actually in because of the frontier, and because pretty much, except for doing, some household things and having like the little adopted child to take care of, her life pretty much was the same, as it was back on the plantation in her mind, I guess. But he she says something to him like, well, why did they come get you? Why would they, come and get you to take you to go and hunt these men? And he tells her, I'm a man, this is my home, it's up to the men in the town to protect, you know, the women and the children. He tells her, and you and my daughter. And so that's when I think she really comes to the realization. And at one point he tells her, he says, she goes, well, I can't lose you, I can't lose you. And at one point he tells her, look, I cannot be a coward even for you. And that kind of leads into some other things. It leads into him actually telling her, well, I want you to learn, can you fire a rifle? He asks her. And she's like, of course not. She's a lady. She doesn't know anything about that stuff. And so he tells her, he says, look, I'm going to teach you how to fire a rifle because you might need to, protect the child. And I think yourself and the child. And I think that is when the um the situation that she's living under, how different her life is, other than when she was on the plantation, that this is a whole different atmosphere, this whole different set of circumstances, wherein he could lose his life, she could lose her life. And in the meantime, the arch villain had actually been following these outlaws that committed this crime. And that kind of gives him a little, little fright too, because he's like, okay, if these white men went and hunted these white men down like this, what in the world are they going to do if they catch me? and he's actually hiding in the woods when the hero takes my lead character out and teaches her to shoot the rifle. He's actually watching, in from the distance, that that she's actually learning to fire the rifle. And I think that is when I came to the idea of maybe when he comes to get her, when the arch villain comes to, finally take her away, when he finally comes to, get his revenge, that she, at first I thought to have her shoot him, but because of something else that happened, I really didn't want that. I really didn't want, her to, number one, I didn't want the sanctity of her home to be, um, destroyed by her murdering someone in her living room, that kind of thing. And plus, she'd already been through enough, crazy stuff as far as somebody dying, quote unquote, on her watch, um, was concerned. And so I changed it. I didn't do it. But that was really one of the scenes that I really liked. And that was the scene I think I was talking about. I think I've mentioned it before, that my writing partner, I had written it in terms of a journal entry of it, like the next day. And she's saying, this is what happened, and this is what happened, and so and so came and got, her hero. And they rode off, and he didn't come back to this morning. He didn't want to talk about it, and all this stuff like that. And actually, a writing partner that I had at the time said, "Oh, no, 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 no! Write that out as a narration." And I'm really glad I did. That was a really good idea. Thanks, Alex, wherever you are, probably somewhere, a $1 million writer, somewhere. But I'm sure I would have heard if she published anything. A couple of people in my class have definitely have published. One of them actually published. I think I talked about it before. He put his book on Amazon.com. So that's really proud of him. So that's always been one of the scenes that kind of stuck out in my mind in terms of her maturing a little bit. She's quite immature in a way, just because of the life that she's led, and also how she learns to read and write. It's a direct I want to say correlation, but that's kind of almost the word I'm kind of looking at, as an result of her being this pampered, slave that that her lover, loves. They have a mature, physical relationship, but, he thinks it's kind of cute that she can read and write. And he has her come, to in front of his friends when he has his friends over, and they all have their mistresses over, and he has her come in and, recite a poem or read a passage out of a book or something like that, kind of like, as entertainment, like, look what I have, part of he doesn't think in terms of educating her so she can take, control of her life, or that she can, be empowered in any way. He sees to it that she can do these things because I don't know, he thinks it's cute, just like, I guess, today, just like a man wants a, more educated woman sometimes. So, um, back to when she moves to Missouri, I think, and also I think for the reader, I wanted to kind of draw the reader into how dangerous their world actually is. Because up to then, like I said, it was pretty much their relationship, her trying to stay away from him, because she wants to have sex with him, but she really doesn't. She's still moping for her other man that she left behind. And once they get through with that sort of thing, then what? It's always the question, then what? So that's when this incident happens, and I think I take the reader into really their world, how it really was into, in the frontier. So I'm gonna get out of these, I don't know what, these earth tones, and I might make maybe mm, two more, and then it'll be definitely time for dinner. So I'll see you guys later.